All right, so I often get asked about kids using sort of knives for sort of making things out of cardboard. So one of the things I came across is that obviously your kids you got to be pretty confident as a parent to let your kids use a scalpel. Although I'm someone who believes in that it's better to give something sharp that works because it requires less force. I think even then it's still, treat with a little bit of care. So as it happens, I kind of think there's still little upgrades you can make, like putting Sugru on the grip. And that's not about that you can put on more force, it's just simply you have more control. So I think if you have, let's say a sort of 8 or 9 or 10-year-old who you kind of trust and you're supervising them while they're working so they're not cutting towards themselves, then I think you could definitely upgrade the scalpel to that and it will really help their control. Another one is that often if you're getting apple boxes, you need to sort of rough out a sort of quick shape. These can get blunt doing that sort of volume. I think it actually surprises people that this is single ply card and this is double. So you can see two bits there. And I'm taking care to have my fingers always out the way when I'm doing things like that and cutting away from myself. And I'd say, if anything, that teaching of awareness of where your fingers and the rest of your body is, not cutting towards yourself, doing anything like that, I think is really more the lesson you got to work through with kids more than anything else. But as always, I think there's some things that are kind of obvious here. You could take a Dremel and just soften up those cutting edges, and of course this knife point at the end to make it a lot safer. Or indeed, you could buy this thing, which I'll put a link below, which is called a canary. I think can only guess because of the yellow, no idea why. I think it started off in Japan, or at least this is where I got it. And basically it's just a lightly serrated thing. I'm not going to try and cut myself, but I can do that and it's not doing anything serious. And you can hear from the sound, it's a sort of cleaner cut. So I would say that basically this is essentially a thicker, say, hacksaw blade that's been put on both sides, rounded off, and it's just that little bit less aggressive. So I think it has actually been really well designed just for cutting through cardboard. And if it does 2-ply, it's definitely going to do 1-ply, like the stuff you get from Amazon. And in many ways, I don't know whether it was chicken and egg, but this company Make Do, even though I think they would acknowledge their saw is, as you can see, a lot of dust and a lot of force needed. And it's just, don't get me wrong, as a product designer, this is making sure this is super safe, but it's kind of, not exactly a great experience. I would say this, for the small band-aid that you'll need if your kid ever does get a cut, I think this is actually an infinitely better thing to get them started on. But yeah, probably we're talking supervised 5-year-old. I wouldn't go much lower than that, as if you really tried, I'm sure it could still cut you. But of course, the thing that Maker did get right is you get all these little basically widgets and snap fits that come in here. And this isn't really about being a product review, as in all truth, I don't actually use Make Do particularly. So I'm not here trying to sell it, but I think it's a nice concept to say that you can pop something through, you could pop something through here. And again, I can even just use the other piece. And so in principle, you're just able to join these two things together for whatever. And so I think, even though these are quite expensive and they are reusable, they can be a little bit fiddly to take apart if you're not used to it, but I think they're still really well designed. But in all honesty, I think this for me is the real, the best tool that I've seen out there for cutting through boxes and letting kids build stuff. And I think, again, the only other one that I really recommend is this cordless glue gun, simply because it's just not putting out a huge volume. So I have another video going on about that, but I hope that's useful. Thanks very much.